Talofa lava malole suifua maua malilangi e mama. Ni sambola vinaka ke muni sakana wakanda mai viti. Hello and welcome to Talanoa Tupe. It's our last episode of the season and I have a very special guest with me in the studio today. My husband and co-founder of Poporazzi Productions Esera Tanoa'i. Welcome to the show.
Cheers. So I guess for this final episode, I think our audience will want to know a little bit about your story. So maybe we flip the script this week and we add you a few questions. Okay. Cool?
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. So, Tupe, tell us a bit about your background.
Let's start off with my parents. So my mother is from Awhenga in Samoa, and my dad he was born and raised in Fiji, but he is Samoan, and his village is Whalialili. And they moved to New Zealand in the 60s. My mum and dad raised my siblings and I in South Auckland. They made a very conscious decision to draw the best of both cultures, from both the Samoan culture and New Zealand. And they instilled in us the value of education. So they were both educators, although they had to work very hard for their education. So my mother left school at 14 to help put food on the table for her family. Yeah, my dad grew up very poor in Fiji and wasn't able to go to primary school for a couple of years due to not being able to pay the school fees. So when they moved to New Zealand, it was, like many other children of the migration, it was so that we could have a better chance at life. And so I was able to take for granted the fact that I could go to school, that I could go to primary school, that I could go to high school, and that I could go to university. And that's something that not even my siblings could take for granted. So I'm the fourth of 5 children, and my older siblings had to go straight to work to help mum and dad when they were starting a new business. And so all of my family has graduated with their degrees, but most of them had to do it as adults, whereas I had a very smooth path to education. So that's something that I'm really grateful for. How about yourself? Do you want to tell us, tell our viewers about your family background?
Yeah, well, my parents, they came over to New Zealand as teenagers. My mother came over when she was about 15, and my father came over maybe in his early 20s, I guess. And they, I guess they were pioneers for their families, and they moved to East Auckland, and they were leaders in their little community. So they started the Samoan congregation, the Catholic congregation in Pamua. So growing up in that surroundings, I had a strong sense of Samoan identity. How about yourself?
Well, it's funny you should ask that because my identity, is something that I struggled with for a very long time. And having parents that, came from different islands, we spoke English at home. And my dad's sense of Fijian identity was very strong. And so that was probably the stronger identity when we were growing up. And also we had a lot of our cousins come to live with us from Fiji. And so my Samoan identity developed a little bit later, but it's something that, I've, really tried to pursue as an adult. And, it's something that, I, really cherish and I, love learning about.